All right, so Steve, I know we got a big rivalry game coming up this week. I think it's this week. Caribou, Presque, right?
Yes,
Comes up this
sir.
week. There was a big rivalry game last night. One Cooper Flag and the Duke Blue Devils just handled business. It wasn't even a matchup. They took care of Carolina handily. Coop played well as always. But my question for you to open up the week: in your rivalry games back in the day, did you guys handle Caribou easily like Duke did UNC last night? Or was it more competitive? What were your rivalry games like?
It was much more competitive,
Okay,
much more competitive. Split 1-1 during the regular season my senior year.
it's too bad. That's
Hey,
unfortunate. You
we
want to
listen.
smash your rivals.
It was a close game in Caribou. Russ Moreland missed a game-tying three-pointer from the corner. Actually, it might have been a potential game winning, and then went to Presque Isle and obliterated the Vikings.
Yeah.
That game wasn't even close.
Okay. Shout out to Russ. I haven't heard Russ's name in a little bit. Shout out to Russ. No Russ from back in the day. With that, let's just get to this week's episode. We got a lot to talk about. Northbound, episode 8. Let's go.
You're listening to Northbound, presented by Big Time Hoops. For the North, by the North, Big Time. And now your hosts, Tom Bard and Steve Carmichael.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 8, I believe, if my notes are correct here, of Northbound Season 2. Tom Bard, joined by Steve Carmichael. And as I mentioned, big rivalry game last night for Cooper Flag and the Duke Blue Devils, and we got a bunch of big rivalry games coming up this week. There was a huge rivalry game last week between my alma mater, Fort Kent and Madawaska, which we'll get into a little bit later on in this episode. But before we do, Steve, we're coming down to the end of the regular season already. Some teams just have a game or two left to go. Your regular season broadcast schedule was narrowing down before your grind that we call tournament time. So how are you feeling? It just feels so early to be talking about the end of the regular season already.
I'm ready. I'm ready. It's my favorite week of the year. Actually, 10 days. I'm gone for a whole
I know,
almost week and a half.
insane.
It's it's surprising, right? I mean, I feel like it was just December 6th, and
Yeah,
now we're already talking about February 6th being the last day of the regular season. It's wild. It goes by fast. Tourney time is going to be electric, be exciting at all the venues. So if you can get there, get your tickets or watch online, whatever you want to do, whatever you prefer. But it's going to be fun.
just a random question. You bring up tournament time, coming out and watching the games. We went through this thing called COVID a while back, and it affected people being able to watch games. And then that's when you started seeing the whole streaming thing take off. Now it feels like every school has that capability. The crowds, we're like several years past it now. How have the crowds been, specifically this season in the gyms? Are people back to coming out and watching the games in person?
Yeah, the gyms have been excellent. The attendance has been awesome listen, as I've always said, a lot of people were talking about streaming may have impacted the gate for all these schools and yada yada yada. But the fact of the matter is there's still nothing quite like being in attendance at the game.
Yeah,
And if you put a good product on the floor and you get community support, I mean, people are going to show up to watch.
yeah,
And I've seen people come out since COVID. People just wanted to get outside.
yeah.
There's still nothing quite being at the game in the atmosphere and watching it live.
And the streaming is awesome for us folks who don't live up there no more. That just want to tune in, catch a random game on a Monday, Tuesday night. It's great to have that option, that ability. But you're right. There's nothing like being in the gym.
I mean, some people like over the past week or so, I mean, it's been really cold outside. And granted, yes, some people I will say it doesn't hurt the gate. There are some people that will elect to stay home. I mean, WHOU and other people have made it easy for people to say, you know what, it's really cold outside. I got a fire going. I'm gonna lean back in the recliner, grab a beer, and watch the game.
Yeah.
It give and take.
For those fans that are going to games, though, there's been a lot made in the last couple of weeks about unruly behavior from around the state and people getting ejected, all kinds of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
So we ask that everyone, if you're going to go to these games, just control yourself. Just be a good spectator, be a good example for these student athletes, and just have fun.
Well, like you're a dad, right?
Yeah,
So you've been to your kids are playing basketball,
yeah.
I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
So what do you do in the crowd? You just sit there and enjoy it, or
I
what?
sit there and I enjoy it. I usually laugh a lot because I'm watching right now I'm watching fifth and fourth grade girls, which is entertaining. And then my son plays second and third grade boys basketball. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of laughter. It's just a fun time. It's an innocent time, But I'm more of a stand back, just watch and enjoy the game. I don't shout at officials. I don't shout at anyone. I'm just there to be supportive for my kids when I'm watching them play. And when I go catch a game, I'm just there for the entertainment value. I'm not there to get mad. So I'm more of a
Yeah.
quiet, laid back guy.
Now, my son is going into high school next year.
Yeah.
So he's kind of getting to the more serious side of basketball in his career. And
Yeah.
I asked him last night, I said, Eli, what do you want from me? Do you need me to get mad at the officials? And he said, no, that's embarrassing. Do you want me to try to undermine your coach when you get home and say, I disagree with that move? He said, no, I don't want that. All your kids, and I can guarantee it, all the kids want to know is that you support them and you're going to love them and you're going to have their back, whether they have a great game, a bad game, get a call go against them or for them. That's all your kids want, is to know that their parents, whoever may be, support them and are going to be there to watch. That's it. They don't need any of the extracurricular activities. None of it.
Last thing they probably want is you being the one getting kicked out, making a scene. So just keep that in mind.
It's embarrassing. I would be so embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine.
Yeah. Don't be that guy, Steve, next year.
Trust me, he never has to worry about that. I do a lot of laughing.
There you go. It's entertainment. I'm just, we're just there to have a good time and support the kids most importantly. So the week that was, we had a bunch of stuff that happened this past week. We're going to start things off in the college ranks. Kissy Walker, who is the head coach for the Husson women's program, been there for a long time. She got career win number 600. I repeat, 600 career wins.
Holy.
For Kissy Walker, and it was against your alma mater, Humpy Owls. So I'm sure the L hurts for you, but nonetheless, a huge accomplishment for Kissy Walker, who's been doing it for a long time and has had a lot of success due to a lot of the talent that comes from the North. She's done a great job of recruiting Aroostook County. So congratulations to Kissy.
Well, I mean, I went to Umpy for 1 year. Okay.
Doesn't matter. Still your alma mater. You're still from Prescott. Those are your Owls. All right.
That's fair. Coach Walker has been there since the 89-90 season. So I was born in 89.
Yeah.
She's been there since I've been alive. And her record, 600 wins, 307 losses. So, I mean, that is a terrific clip and has built a great program at Husson. So shout out to her. Congratulations. Yes, it may have come against my Owls in a tough fought game, but congratulations, Coach Walker. Well done.
In Big East news, a couple Player of the Week awards handed out last week. Madeline Dupre racked up another one, cha-ching. She averaged 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists in a 2-0 week for the Caribou Vikings. And then on the boys' side, Emmett Bither, who's a name that we talked about a lot going into the season. Haven't really seen his name too much in the Big East Player of the Week conversations. I think he's at maybe a couple at this point. But racked up another one, 20 points per game and 11.5 rebounds per game. So two of the better players in the conference walking away with the Player of the Week awards in the Big East. Steve, anything you want to add to those?
No surprise. We talked about Depre at length. Bither, one of the great bigs in the Big East Conference. Huge week, averaging a double-double, leading Old Town to a playoff position, and really does it all. I mean, does a lot of the work on the inside, but also can bring the ball up the floor, can shoot it from the perimeter. But Bither, he's going to be a first-team All-Big East performer. Put it down, write it in pen.
Yeah, I think Madeline's probably got Big East Player of the Year wrapped up at this point. The boys' side, though, I've seen a handful of names that have come away with Player of the Week awards. So if you had to pick the favorite right now, in your opinion, to walk away with the boys' Player of the Year in the Big East, who would be your prediction?
My favorite and my pick, if I had a vote, would be Tristan Robbins from Caribou. That'd be my pick.
All right. Back to the college ranks. The UMaine men had a tough loss yesterday on the road against UVM. That would be the University of Vermont. They lost 55-49. Big win, big game for the Black Bears, even though they lost. Listen, when it comes to the men, we don't normally talk about them being at the top of the America East. Usually they've been at the bottom. They've been through a very, very low period for a long time now. But Coach Markwood has this program turned around. Even with the loss, they remain in second place in the America East. 2 games back of Bryan, who currently leads the conference. UVM is third, so UVM cut into that gap a little bit. Maine does play UVM one more time on the regular season. That's going to be February 15th at the Pit. It's going to be rowdy. It's going to be crazy. I don't know the last time they beat UVM, so I'm guessing it's going to be a crazy environment. If anyone's in the area, February 15th, get on out to Orno and go catch that.
That's tournament week.
There you go. So
I'll be there. I now that you say that, I didn't know this.
Yep.
Book me a
Mark it
ticket.
down. Mark
I'll
it
be
down.
going. Yeah.
And they also play Bryant one more time March 1st towards the end of the regular season. So they got a chance to make up some ground there. But nonetheless, they're poised for a America East tournament run, which we haven't been able to say in a very, very long time. So even with the loss this weekend, Maine men trending in the right direction. We'd like to see that. The women beat UVM over the weekend 45-39. That's their fifth win in a row. They improved to 7-2 in the conference, currently behind Albany, who's in first. They're a game behind them. They do play Albany later on in the season. I did not write down the date for that one. That one's coming up, though, towards the end of February, I believe. So, chance for them to cut into that lead and once again be in contention for another America East championship. Back in the college ranks, Evan Sterling, a standout we talked about last year a lot at Mount Blue, picked up the MMBCWA Rookie of the Week. So that's essentially the Rookie of the Week for the state of Maine. He averaged 10 points, 4.5 rebounds, and a 1-on-1 week for USM. So congratulations to him. USM has won a ton of awards this year on that men's side with names like Brady Saunders, Bryce Lozier, just a bunch of talented kids down there doing it at USM. On the girls' side, Lucy Wiles from Hamden Academy. She's a freshman at USM. She picked up the girls' Rookie of the Week for the MWBCA. She averaged 12.5 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals per game, and a couple of Little East Conference wins. She picked up her third Rookie of the Week honor. So she's having an awesome year for the USM Huskies. Bunch of Maine girls on that roster too down there. So you'd like to see that Maine kids sticking around in Maine and doing well at the next level. So congratulations to both Lucy and Evan for racking up those Player of the Week, or I'm sorry, Rookie of the Week awards. And one more note to send on our little rundown, Steve. There was a big trade last night, Luka Doncic to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. I had no idea this was going on. I'm going to be honest. I was busy last night. I wasn't watching Duke. There was a little something called the WWE Royal Rumble. And
Yeah.
at my house, that's the Super Bowl of the entire year. Me and the kids stayed up late watching the Rumble. I wish I had a wrestling podcast because all I want to do is talk the Rumble today. And I've got no one to talk about it with. So maybe I might be starting a big time wrestling podcast coming up in the off season here. So if anyone out there that listens to this is a big wrestling fan, get at me. We could talk the Rumble. Jey Uso winning that one. But nonetheless, a big trade happened late last night. Your thoughts on the Luka Doncic trade to the Lakers, kind of seemingly out of nowhere?
This is a dream come true for my youngest son, Camden, who's 6, just turned 6 actually on Friday. Big LeBron James fan. I've tried to steer him in a different direction. However, he has completely ignored any of that advice. And I love Luka. So this is a dream come true for us. Luka and LeBron on the same team. I was surprised. I mean, I didn't looking at Dallas, and again, I'm not an NBA GM, but I'm thinking, Luka's 25 years old. He's, triple double waiting to happen. He's a generational talent, if you ask me. And you're AD. I mean, I like Anthony Davis. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. I mean, rim protection to me in the NBA seems overrated. Everyone's shooting 63s a game.
Yeah.
Who needs rim protection?
Yeah.
But again, AD is a great player at the same time. So I don't know. I'm not an NBA GM. I like it because I like storylines, and Luka and LeBron is certainly going to headline.
Okay. You guys got your dream, a dream come true with Luka going to LA. Me and the kids had a dream come true last night. Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble once again. If anyone's out there that wants to talk wrestling.
So are you a Jey Russo fan?
No, Jey Uso. Jey Uso.
Jey Uso. Okay. So is that your favorite wrestler?
He's one of them. I got like 6 guys, man. I live and breathe this stuff. Like I watch more wrestling than anything else.
I think 2006, my favorite wrestler won the Royal Rumble. That was Rey Mysterio.
That's my boy's favorite all-time wrestler, and Rey was number 1 in the Rumble last night. He's still wrestling, still doing it. So
I know. And now I was a Rey fan back at WCW when he did have the mask and it was the Filthy Animals.
Yes,
Disco Inferno and Conan. Yeah, that's how far I go back.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Yeah. Maybe me and Steve will just start a wrestling podcast in the offseason. We'll do that. All right, let's get to the games that matter from this past week here. So, big upset earlier in the week in Class A. The Camden Hills boys upset Hamden Academy 65-55. They improved their record to 9-7. Hamden fell to 11-4. Nolan Ames only 14 points in the night. He's their go-to guy. Someone we've talked about a lot throughout the regular season. Was only held to 14 points, but Camden Hills nonetheless gets the win. Tegan Lowe led the Windjammers with 17 points in that one. Aiden Kochendofer led Hamden Academy with 23. But a huge win for Camden Hills, which is a team that we seem to talk about every week, that, hey, come tournament time, that might not be a team you want to see. And they just knocked off one of the top 3 teams in A North. And we've talked about Nola names. When you've got the best player on the floor, you've always got a chance. So your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Yeah, and if he's going to get somebody else to knock down some shots as well, I mean, Camden Hills can be a dangerous team. However, they followed that up with a loss to Coney, 70-68. And looking at the standings right now, it appears that it could be a Coney Camden Hills quarterfinal. They sit in the 4-5 matchup, and then Hamden at the 3, Brewer 2, and then Messalonsky is, I think you can pretty much write that in pen, that they are going to be the 1 seed going into Class A tournament. But big win for Camden Hills. I talked to Coach Brian McDormand, who I think he said he went to watch that game, and he said Ames was one of the better players that he's seen all year. And when Coach Brian McDormand says that, I believe it, because he has seen a lot of basketball during the winter. And he said that Ames didn't score much, but his ability to facilitate and to, take the defensive pressure, find the open man was impressive. So Camden Hills, a bit of a sleeper, 5 seed. Big win over Hamden Academy, which is known as their defensive prowess. No names, the Windjammers. Coney, 4-5 matchup. That'll be one to watch come tournament time.
And Hamden Academy did rebound. They hosted Brewer later on in the week on Friday night in a big showdown. Yep. And they sweep the regular season series against Brewer with a 59-52 win at home. So Class A is going to be interesting as we wind down.
It was really interesting last year, remember?
Yeah.
We didn't really know who. Hamden ended up coming away with it with Zach McCollum, but it was interesting going in.
Yeah, we had Mount Blue up there, Messalonsky up there.
Yep.
It was just one of those seasons where, you didn't know what to expect, but that's why we play the games.
Yep.
And Hamden won the North last year and figured to be in the mix again this year.
Is it anybody from like 1 to 6 could win?
Realistically, yeah, they've all kind of beat up each other. So as it sits right now, Meso number 1, Brewer 2, Hamden Academy 3, Coney 4, Camden 5, Mount Blue 6, and then Gardner and Nokomis rounding out the top 8. So that figures to be interesting. We kind of know who might be. It seems like we have that tier of the top 3 teams: Meso, Brewer, and Hamden, maybe the favorites out of those 6 teams. But Steve, I want you to go ahead and give me a dark horse. Give me a dark horse that you think come tournament time, because if you look at the standings, it looks like it's pretty much set in terms of who's going to be in the top 8.
A boys.
Camden
Hills probably wouldn't count because I've talked about him enough, right?
Yeah. You know what? You can still go with them if you want.
Well, I still want to. And I beat this cliche to death, right? That if you can throw one of the best players on the floor every night, you're gonna have a chance to win, and that's what Camden Hills can do with Nola names. And if he's getting help around him, if Lowe's scoring 17 as well, they're going to be dangerous, but I guess I got to look a little bit more into Coney too. They just took down Camden Hills. So, the Rams could be another sleeper too.
As we drop on down to Class B, Caribou Boys beat Old Town 58-41. That improved Caribou to 16-1 on the regular season. With 1 game remaining, those Wildcats from Presque Isle on Wednesday. Cayman Sargent led the way with 24 for Caribou. Tristan Robbins with only 8 in that one. Emmett Byther, who we talked about at the top of the show, 27 points for the Coyotes, who fall to 8-9. They have 1 more game, a big rivalry game against Orono this week on Wednesday as well. Steve, Caribou, 16-1, chance to go 17-1. They must have had an undefeated season, right? That year they beat Miranda Cook and went back to back. They lose during the regular season.
They lost down in Herman.
Okay. This could still wind up. They probably have never had a 18-0 year then. They could probably tie their best record ever.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Going back to the early 80s, they were really good as well. But this will be, the Caribou Boys are locked into the 1 seed, and the Caribou Girls on the other side are locked into the 1 seed. First time in history, according to my good friend Scott Hunter, who is a Caribou history guy, that both teams have gotten the 1 seed.
Okay.
First time in history.
They got those locked up. It looks like just looking at the standings in B North, Boys, Caribou 1, Ellsworth 2, Orono 3, MDI, your MDI Trojans, number 4.
We haven't really talked about Orono.
No, not yet.
We haven't really even brought them up a ton on the podcast, which, I mean, shame on us, right? They've won back-to-back state championships.
Yep.
And they are 11-5. Classic. They're playing their best basketball at the right time. I know they lost to Elzer by 11, but before then they beat Herman, John Baps, Holton, Presque Isle, MDI, all before that. So
you just took my thunder. I was going to ask you that we know who kind of the favorites are. We figure Caribou's the favorite to come out of the North, but I wanted you to pick one team that is playing really well at the right time, heading into tournament time, and that I'm guessing Orno's your pick.
Yeah, I think they have to be.
Okay.
And Will Francis, Brady Hughes, Bergen Soderberg. So they got really those are the three key pieces, and they all do something really well, right? Brady Hughes is a terrific ball handler. He's a distributor, but he can also score. Will Francis is just a big, athletic, strong, hybrid forward guard, whatever you want to call him, but he can come up big on the defensive end and he can leap. He's a born winner. That's all he knows is just how to win. And then you go to Bergen Soderberg, who's a lights out shooter. They've got great balance, and Ed Catala, easy Ed, calmest guy on the sideline. Watch out for the Red Riots once again.
All right, now going in the opposite direction, what's a team that is probably not playing as good as they should heading into the tournament that needs to kind of fix some things if they want to make a run here?
I mean, I'm a little disappointed in Herman this year. I expected them to be a little bit more dominant, I should say, with what's the record? They're 9-8 right now. They still sit fifth, and you look at some of their scores, and it's like they have a win. They won 4 in a row, so they got to 4-1. But since then, it was a loss to Bucksport, who is last. And then they beat Orno by 19, lost to Old Town by 2, beat John Baps by 10, lost to Presque Isle by 3, lost double digits to Ellsworth and Caribou, 9 to Old Town, then lost to Orno, and then beat WA, who's 16th by 2 in overtime. So Herman's in the 5 seed. They're one of those teams, as I've talked about, that can beat anybody, but they can also lose to anybody.
Yep.
So I would say Herman, I expected them to be more, I thought they'd be the second or third best team in B. So on that opinion, I was dead wrong.
So, and as I mentioned, we got a bunch of rivalry games here coming up to finish up the regular season in B. So Caribou at Presque Isle on Wednesday. Orno Old Town also goes down Wednesday. And then Ellsworth got MDI this week as well. So just a bunch of great rivalry games to close out the regular season in B North. Just to finish that top 8, we left off Herman number 5, Old Town 6, Winslow 7, and Maranacook number 8. So right now your Wildcats just outside the top 8 as we head into the last game of the regular season. But hey, a Caribou win could do them really well, Steve.
Yeah, I would say so. Big win yesterday down at Foxtrot. That was kind of a must win because they were in 13th. Or they were in 12th yesterday, and Foxtrot was 13th. They needed to win that game. And shout out to Brett Greenlaw, the lone senior, Grandpa Greenlaw on the Wildcats. He has been awesome this year.
Yeah.
Scored over 20 yesterday. Great job on the glass. One of the best leaders around. So I just want to give Mr. Greenlaw a big shout out as he's senior year.
Your prediction for the Caribou Presque Isle big rivalry game on Wednesday. What are you predicting for this one?
I don't do predictions for those two teams.
Well,
So
I'll do it.
I don't like to irritate either fan base. Like I just want a good game. That's all I want.
I'll do it because I was right last time. I was 2-0 on the Caribou Presque Isle games in Caribou. So for this one, I'm gonna go.
You said Caribou by was it 25 last time, and they won by 37, I think.
Yes, yeah. And then I said the Caribou girls by 15, and they won by 16.
Yeah. So Tuesday the girls play. What do you got?
My prediction for the game. All right. So for the girls game, I'm gonna go Caribou girls by 18 on the road.
What about the boys?
The boys, I'm gonna go 18 as well. I'm gonna go 18 for both.
Done. Written down in ink, in pen.
We'll see how it plays out this week. But nothing better than a good rivalry game in the regular season here. So
Absolutely.
Shout out to all those schools that are going to be having some great ones to end the regular season. Let's drop it down to Class C here. A couple games of note from the past week. Those darn Madawaska Owls, those pesky little Owls, improve to 16-0. They beat Hodgson 62-49. They host Ashland on Monday, and then Fort Fairfield on the road on Thursday to close out the regular season.
I'll be there Thursday.
That's a chance for them to get to 18-0, which has never happened for those guys. So that was the big win at the end of the week. They also had a big win at the beginning of the week. They beat my Four Kent Warriors in what I was told was an incredible environment. They came from behind in that one to ultimately get that win. I think they won by 4. I don't have the final in front of me right now. But Steve, your thoughts on Madawaska here as they have a chance to go 18-0. I never thought I'd see the day. I never thought that I would see Madawaska, of all teams, Madawaska get a chance to go 18-0.
What do you have against Madawaska?
Listen, Madawaska fans are so needy, right? They're finally good, and now they're giving me shit because I'm not giving them enough love, not enough attention. Guys, where were you guys the last 25 years when you guys were terrible? How come you guys weren't asking for more love then? All of a sudden, you guys got a chance to go 18-0, and now you guys are all coming out of the woodwork. Show us some more love. Give us some more attention. Come on, get out of here with that.
They haven't given me any shit.
I know. It's probably because you're not a Fort Kent guy, right? You're down there. You're safe down there. But I've been getting so much shit this week. Even my uncle, who just found out this week that I run big time hoops, and I'm like, where have you been? I've been doing this for 5 years, and he's giving me shit for not giving Madawaska enough love. Enough with the Madawaska fans.
Well, I give Madawaska some love. Talk about them quite a bit. Talk about, I feel like almost every week.
Way more than we should be, right? What's wrong with these guys?
Well, they are unbeaten. So it does deserve quite a bit of love.
Yeah. And shout out to my guy Trophy Mode who made the trip up there. I just want to explain one thing. He didn't go up there just for the day for that one game. He was up there visiting family. So that's why we were able to make that happen with him go to the game. But what a great experience. I was so fired up just to see Trophy's mix afterwards. To see a Trophy Mode mix from in the Fort Kent gym, even if it was the Madawaska Owls, just incredible. We got to get more love. We got to get more coverage up there. So if there's any businesses out there that want to sponsor an Aroostook County big time game of the week next season, let me know, because we don't make money off this big time platform for the most part, except for the podcast. Me and Steve, we get a little bit of money off it. Shout out to our friends at Katahdin Trust. But it costs money to send videographers and photographers to games. They got to pay for gas. They got to pay for snacks. So we need a little bit of money if we want to get some folks up there. But if there's any Aroostook County businesses that want to see way more coverage up there, reach out to me. We'll get something set up and we'll get some attention up there, because even though it was a loss for my Warriors, it was still awesome to see the fanfare, the mixes, the photos, all that stuff. So
you seem to have gotten some more photographers up here at some games that you've been using.
Yeah, Tyler. Shout out to Tyler Turner, who's done some stuff for Aroostook County Hoops on Facebook as well, but going to be doing some stuff with Big Time Hoops moving forward. So a talented kid. He's been all over the place. So glad to have him joining the fray. And like I said, hopefully we can get something set up so we're bringing one game a week next year with some great coverage for all the county teams up there, because man.
You know what a great sponsor for it would be? The University of Maine at Presque Isle.
Let's do that.
County game of the week. Because I was at their gym this weekend, and shout out to those kids in the student section and Coach Kane and everybody. That was a hell of a game against Husson. The environment was loud. The students were into it. There was a lot of people from the community that came out to watch. Umpy put on a hell of a show. I mean, yes, they may have lost to Husson, but I'm going to tell you now, they played a great game. They were fun to watch. So I think Umpy would be the ideal sponsor.
Umpy, if you want to sponsor, get out to me. We already got CMCC, who does the game of the week, and it's pretty much all Southern Maine based because my boy Brady's down there, and we can only make him travel so far. But Umpy, that sounds like a great sponsorship. We're going to see if we can speak it into existence.
I hadn't been to a college game in quite a while. I'm going to make sure I catch more Umpy games now after going to one.
Okay, there we go.
And everybody else should too.
Yeah, and I was telling you before we got on the air, like I saw some pictures of the gym. I haven't been in the Umpy gym since 2007, which would have been the last time I played there. It looks way better now. The lighting is great. The seating looks great. It looks like a great little environment.
Yeah, it is. It was great.
All right, so back on task here. Madawaska. What do you think? You think they go 18-0 here?
Yeah, they have a chance. I think they'll beat Ashland to go to 17-0. Fort Fairfield will be a difficult game. Had their game against Fort Kent the other day, which we're going to talk to in just a second. Fort Fairfield's playing better. They've gotten better as the year has gone on. So that will be a test.
As you mentioned, a rough week for my Warriors, in addition to the tough loss to our rivals, Madawaska at home. They lost the Battle of the Forts. They lost to Fort Fairfield. That one happened later on in the week. Final score in that one, 58-44. Tigers picked up the third win in a row to improve to 9-7. So a big point getter for them. They have 2 games left. Holton on Monday, and then, as we mentioned, they host Madawaska on Thursday. So rough week for my Warriors.
Yeah. I talked to you a little bit after the game. Aiden Jeffers was clearly not 100% during that game. He ended up in the trainer's room a couple different times during the first half. But at the same time, I don't want to take away from what Fort Fairfield did at the same time. And I think Coach Clausen has really navigated the situation in Fort Fairfield very well. I mean, he lost a couple talented players at the beginning of the season that they were going to rely on to carry them throughout the season, and they have rebounded nicely. I thought they were they were composed in the Fort Kent game. Ethan Walsh took over in the fourth quarter, had a couple thunderous dunks, and Caden Alla out on the perimeter. So I want to make sure that in Fort Fairfield's defensive game plan, because holding Fort Kent to 44 points, who they can fill it up, is pretty impressive. I don't want to take away from what Fort Fairfield got done.
You mentioned Walsh had 18 to lead the way for Fort Fairfield in that one. So as we look at the current playoff picture, Madawaska still undefeated, 16-0. So might have a couple undefeated teams in C North as we wrap up the regular season here. Madawaska second, also 16-0. Machias in third. Fort Kent still hanging on in fourth with a 9-8 record. But we're hanging in there. Rounding out the top 8, Hodgdon, Dexter, Mount View, and Fort Fairfield. So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you about Class B North. Who do you think is playing right at the right time outside the favorites? So Madawaska, we talked about being 16-0, just putting a hurting on a lot of teams. So outside of them, who do you think is peaking at the right time heading into tournament time?
So I just wanted to count the amount of games that Hodgson won in a row before losing to Madawaska by 13. Looks like they won 10 in a row before the loss to Madawaska. So Hodgson would be a potential candidate for that title. Mount View at 9-7. Yeah, you can't, obviously 16-0, Mananocook and Madawaska. Machias at 15-2. They're 17 games. They just beat Bangor Christian by 5, and then they play Shed to end the season. They have won 6 in a row. So Machias is another team that you could throw into that category.
You mentioned Mount View there at number 7. You know what? I hope these standings hold the way they do, because Madawaska, I hope you guys get Mount View in that 2-7 matchup. That's what I want to see you guys get right there.
You felt the wrath last year.
Exactly. They can feel you want to have a great season and then go into the tournament as a 2 seed, feeling all great, and then get Mountain View. You want to see how that feels like? You guys can have it. You guys can have it.
I want to take a look at Mountain View's schedule. Hold on a second, because they play a very heavy B schedule.
Yeah.
So they started the season out. They lost to Winslow. They've lost to them twice by 19 and then 21. And they lost to Lincoln Academy, who's really good in B South. They have wins over MCI, who's in the top 10 in B. They got slaughtered by Madomic Valley, but they're not the only team that's been beaten by them by quite a bit. So, I mean, they're challenged. They always challenge themselves during the regular season.
They got some, they play Waterville, Levitt, MCI, Morse, Belfast, Winslow, Madomic Valley, Erskine. Like, they play a crazy schedule.
And they beat Belfast.
Yeah.
With Ripley.
Yep.
Who just beat Lincoln Academy. So, once again, like, don't make the mistake of not paying attention to the Mustangs.
Yep. You hear that, Madawaska? You hear that? How about in the opposite direction? Who's not playing well at the right time? It's got to be my Warriors. And you can be honest. We're just hanging on at this point, 9-8.
Well, yeah, you have to say. I mean, they've lost 4 in a row.
Yeah.
So, and they've lost 5 of their last 6. Just the win over Katahdin by 7, which is a nice win because Katahdin's number 2 in Class D. They still likely, if they can beat Wisdom, which I would expect them to, and then Hodgson plays Central Aroostook, they will be close to see who gets that final bye spot.
Yeah.
But that game on, I think Mars Hill and I think Hodgson play on Tuesday night, I believe. Yep. That's one to watch out for. Because
Okay.
if Mars Hill beats Hodgson, then they're safe. They're in. But if Hodgson beats them, and then Fort Kent, even if they beat Wisdom, depending, the points are close.
Yeah.
I don't want to speculate, so because I don't know how the heel points work. It's too many numbers.
That's why we have someone else do them. We just look at the standings afterwards.
Correct.
We'll let the MPA worry about that. Let's drop on down to D. So your current playoff picture, Skank number 1 at 15-1, followed by Katahdin, who you just touched on a little bit. Central Rustic 3, Bangor Christian, the defending state champs, at number 4. Then rounding out the top 8, we got Lee Academy, Southern Rustic, Easton, and Jonesport Beals. So same questions here. Who is somebody playing great at the correct right time of the year heading into tournament time?
The Panthers.
Central to Rustic, let's hear it.
Look at their schedule. I'm looking at from December 27th to January 15th. They lost 6 in a row. Since then, they've won 6 in a row. Shout out to my nephew, Jaleel Joseph. Put up some big numbers. He had a thunderous putback slam the other day against Van Buren. They picked up the win 89-26. Kellen McCrum's playing better. Dylan McKean, Will Whited on the inside, Ben Woodworth, Coach Jarrett. As I kind of talked to him a little bit throughout the season, it's been a learning curve for everybody.
First year for him too as a coach.
Yeah, first year. I mean, he had no varsity coaching experience to jump in with a very young, talented team. I think he's done very well. And this is important to the community in Mars Hill. They love their basketball. They're one of the most, you walk by their trophy cases. It's filled with gold balls.
Panther Palace.
That's right. So Jaleel Joseph, again, you put him on the floor. He can score 50 on you any given night. And he's going to get 15 rebounds to go with it. He can really dominate every aspect of the game. If McCrum is playing well, which he has been over the past few games, Will Whited is such an important piece. I really think the Panthers are a team that nobody wants to play come tournament time.
How about someone trending in the wrong direction at this time of year?
No, it's a good question. Lee Academy, I think, is also trending in the right direction. Katahdin has always been trending in the right direction because they've won 4 in a row. I'm looking at Southern Rustic. They've gone 2-2 over their last 4. Easton's in double figures with wins. They lost 3 in a row, but then they've turned it around and won their last 2. They'll end with Washburn on Tuesday. Is it Bangor Christian? Potentially. I don't know. I mean, they lost to Machias the other day. Before then, they beat Central and Dexter, a couple Class C teams. I don't really know. Is anybody really playing bad in Class D boys? I don't know if I see it. But I just know the team that's playing really well is Central Ursic right now.
Well, everyone, you want to be playing right. You want to be playing good this time of year. So if everyone's heading in that right direction, it should be an interesting tournament.
Yeah. I mean, Skank goes without mentioning, right? Yeah. They lost their first game of the season. And since then, they have not been touched. They've won 15 in a row. With wins over Bangor Christian, Machias. 2 of them more Bangor Christian. They smoked Dexter, smoked Stearns, beat Lee Academy by double digits. Yeah, Skank is on a roll.
We're going to switch gears here, hop on over to the girls' side. So I just want to give Bangor Rams some love here as we kick off the girls section of the show. They had a huge road win on Friday night. Down in Auburn, they beat Edward Little 53-51 on the road. So a big win for them. They currently sit in 5th in AA North. But that's going to be interesting to see because a lot of those teams at the top, they've all kind of beat each other or have had competitive games. So a AA North will be a fun little tournament to watch, a nice little region to watch as we get closer to tournament time here. As we drop on down to A North, we finally got the game we've been waiting for. We've been talking about it all season long when it comes to Lawrence, that, you know what, nothing's going to really matter. They're not going to have a real challenge until they play Coney, who outset them last year in the, I don't remember if it was the semis or the Northern Maine regionals, but either way, upset them in the tournament. They had their rematch this past week. The results of that one, Lawrence smacks Coney 70-36. Maddie Provost with a game-high 26 points for the Bulldogs. So I think we got our answer, Steve, as to whether there is going to be any competition in A North this year come tournament time.
Well, Coney gets another chance at him on Tuesday.
They do.
This time at home. But I watched a little bit of that game last week, and it was nice to see Provost. I think she's become even better this year, which I didn't know was very possible.
She's awesome. She is.
She's just an excellent basketball player. So Lawrence, that's a statement right there to basically double up Coney, who's number 2 by a wide margin right now.
Yeah. So shout out to Maddie. Like I said, game line 26 in that one. Also received another scholarship offer this week. She got a D1 offer from Sacred Heart, in addition to Bryant's, UMaine, and I think Stonehill's the other one. So she's got 4 Division 1 offers right now. So if you guys have not seen Maddie Provost, whenever it comes tournament time, get on down to the Civic Center, go watch the Lawrence girls, and go watch Maddie Provost, who might just be the most exciting player to watch in the entire state.
Yep.
She is awesome. So it's coming up soon as we get closer to tournament time. Drop it on down to B North. Caribou girls with a close one here as they won 36-34 against Old Town. I believe this was just yesterday, right, Steve? Caribou Old Town?
Say again, sorry.
Yesterday, was that yesterday? Caribou girls beat Old Town?
Yes, it was.
So only a 2-point game, a matchup of the 2 top teams in B North. Your thoughts on this one, Steve? We thought that Caribou might be running away with it, but you did give Old Town some love last week, saying that they just are a program that year in and year out is going to be there when it matters, and looks like they're going to be there again.
They play good defense, and that is going to keep you in a lot of games, no matter how it pans out. Holding Depre to just 13 points, slowing it down. Another thing they do is they don't turn the ball over. Taylor Madden and Taylor Loring in the backcourt, they just don't beat themselves. So that is going to be a difficult team for Caribou to match up with. Another team for Caribou I think that could be difficult would be Herman. They just went to the wire with Herman in Caribou and needed a buzzer beater from Brie Levesque to beat them. So there are some, tournament, it's all about matchups. Some teams are better matchups for others. And I think for Caribou, one of the tougher ones will be Old Town and Herman. They could see Old Town in the finals. They could see Herman in the first round, the quarterfinals. Now, remains to be seen. I think if Caribou is playing their A game, they are the best team. But if they have a B game and somebody else is having their A game, look what Old Town did against Ellsworth last year. It can happen.
Yeah, as it currently stands, Caribou number 1 at 16-1. Old Town second. Erskine Academy still in there, number 3, 13-3 in the regular season so far. MDI, your Trojans in 4th place. Rounding out the top 8, we got Ellsworth, Presque Isle, John Bapps, and Maranacook.
I talked to Coach Justin Norwood, and I said, I got called bias for MDI. And he was like, really? Well, thanks for the support. I said, I had no idea. I'd never heard that before.
It's true. It's true. So same questions for you as we look at B North. Who is peaking at the right time? Outside of, Caribou, probably the obvious favorite at this point, but a team besides Caribou who's playing really well at the right time and has a chance to make a run here.
I think Erskine Academy would be the next best team with a 13-3 record with Kelsey Dunn. They had a loss to Madomic, but it was a close game. It was just a 6-point ball game. And I think Erskine kind of controlled most of that game before Madomic made a pretty fierce comeback. So want to make sure that the Eagles get their credit as a team to watch. Old Town is playing well. That's kind of where I'm looking at, is that Erskine is probably the next best team playing pretty well. They could have a nice showing. They're definitely the best team out of the KVAC. Like, I don't think it's even close.
Yeah.
It is Erskine Academy. They're probably the only team that I can see competing with the Big East Conference. I don't think. I mean, Rannacook's 9-7, but I think that Erskine is the team out of the KVAC that might be able to knock it off and spoil the party for the Big East.
All right. How about a team trending in the wrong direction right now as we enter the last week of the regular season?
Oh, I'm trying to look at a team that is trending in the wrong direction. I don't think, I think John Bats could be an interesting team. They're kind of up and down. They had a 10-point loss to Ellsworth. They beat Foxcroft by 5. They beat MDI by 4. Then they beat Ellsworth as well by 16. So I think the Crusaders could be an interesting team to talk about. I don't think they're really trending down or up. Presque Isle the same way. I don't think they're down or up. They're just kind of going along. They one win, then they lose. They win, they lose, and they win 2 in a row. Beat Ellsworth and Foxcroft. Then we'll see how they do against Caribou this week. I don't necessarily see any way or any team that I think is playing bad right now. That's trending in the wrong direction. I think everybody's right where they should be.
Okay.
That may be an unpopular opinion, but
Nothing wrong with that. It is what
it's
it
a
is.
fact.
Yeah, we're gonna find out in a couple weeks once we start the tournament who's playing well and who's not.
I'll say next week I gotta have my picks. You gotta have your picks too.
Yep. That'll be next week on the pod.
So like John Baps is a 7 seed right now.
Yep.
They've played Old Town twice in the season. That would be potentially be a 2-7 if John Baps wins a prelim. They beat Old Town once. They lost to Old Town once. That's the crazy part about B is it's like that with everybody.
That's why you love B North. That's why you love the region. You love Class B.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I'm starting to do the schedule, so tournament get a lot of B.
Let's drop it on down to C. So as it currently stands in C North, Mattawancook, number 1 at 15-1 on the regular season. My Fort Kent Warriors in there at number 2. Penobscot Valley, number 3 at 16-0. But only the 3 seed because of the points. And then we got Dexter. Dexter's someone we haven't talked about a lot this year, but look at look where they are as we get ready to round up the regular season in the top 4. And then rounding it up, we got Mount View, Callis, Machias, and Central. I just want to say one thing about those howlers from Penobscot Valley. I asked them last week, I say, hey, can we get over the 100-point mark? Can we just do it one time? Let's just, because they've been close a couple of times. They had 2 games in which they scored 99. I asked them last week, hey, let's get over that 100-point mark. They did this week. They scored 103 points as they beat Penquist Valley 103-11 in a rout. So thank you for scoring the 103. You could have gave up more than 11 just to be a little bit more friendly. But nonetheless, Steve, as we head into the final stretch, we know Penobscot Valley is playing well. Who's another team trending in the right direction at this point?
Just to add to that note of Penobscot Valley and just how dominant they have been. So they are a plus 909 on the season. And their average average margin of victory is 57 points per game. That is nuts. Their closest game was 16 against Mattanock Academy, as we've mentioned, and they play on Tuesday.
Yeah.
In Lincoln.
I'm not liking the look of this bracket right now because it's looking like a Penobscot Valley Fort Kent semifinal. I'd rather wait to the regional final before having to see them.
Well, if PVHS beats Mattanock twice, they'll likely jump them.
Okay.
If I don't know who Penobscot Valley has in their last game of the season, but they got Mattanock and then they got
Dexter. They got Dexter, yeah.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah,
Dexter's 4th.
Yeah.
Mattanock has George Stevens Academy, who is 11th. So I think if PVHS beats both Dexter and Mattanock, they go 1. And then Fort Kent avoids PVHS, but still they'd have to play Mattanock in the semis, which Mattanock is a very good team.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Different styles, different styles of play. That'd be a fun one against Mattanock just because the difference in styles with they got Addie Sear right down there on the block. So it'd be interesting to see that in a tournament game. Trending in the right direction. I don't know. Did we pick one? Did we pick a team trending in the right direction at this point?
I did not pick one. Dexter lost 3 of their first 8 games, and now they've only lost 1 since, and that was to Mattanock. So they are trending in the correct direction, which, no surprise.
Defending state champs.
They always play better, play their best near the end of the season. Mount View at 13-3 is not a team we've really talked about this year. Again, I believe they play a pretty brutal schedule, which they do. They lost by 1 to Madomic Valley. They beat Erskine 63-55. So, I mean, that's a team we haven't talked about, but judging by some of these scores, you might want to watch out for the Mount View girls. Classic, right? And right now, they're the 5 seed, so they don't worry, they wouldn't play Fort Kent in the quarters.
We don't want that. We want to stay away from the Mustangs after what happened last year. I don't want to see them anywhere near my Warriors ever again. How about a team heading in the wrong direction at this point?
No I don't think there's really anybody. Well, I say Machias has lost 2 in a row to Callis and Bangor Christian. So Machias sitting in the 7th spot at 10-6. Central is a team with Mary Allen that, again, they just lost to Herman by 17, but Herman is a difficult team to play in Class B. Nothing's surprising me at all. Like, that's the hard part about picking a team heading in the wrong direction is, does it surprise me that they're where they are in the standings? Not really.
Okay.
It's PBHS's to lose. Like, that is I think that's the unanimous opinion of pretty much everybody, that they look at it and they say, okay, Mananacook with Sear, maybe control the tempo. Can the guards take care of the basketball and get the basketball to Addie Sear in the post?
Yeah.
It's easier said than done against that kind of pressure that the Howlers put on you.
We're going to find out soon. Let's drop it on down to D. So as it currently stands, Central the Rustic, number 1 at 15-2. Right behind them, Bangor Christian. Wisdom, 14-1 in the third slot. Skank in 4th, and then rounding out the top 8, we got Shed, Southern Rustic, Stearns, and that's it. That's our top 8 right there. So as we look at it, Steve, who is playing right at the right time of year?
Just say Wisdom right now, right?
14-1.
We talked about it last week that Pioneers a couple years ago with Abby Lerman and Willette and Lily Roy. That was it. Like, that was their chance. Well, maybe not so fast. They have not lost since February 23rd when they played the Fort Kent Warriors. They have a loaded final week of the season. They play Fort Kent tomorrow.
Yep.
2 days later, they play Van Buren. And then on Thursday, the last day of the season, they will host, or they'll be on the road, and they're going to take on the Washburn Beavers, who are in the 9th spot, I believe. They're down to 11th in Class D girls. So Wisdom playing great basketball at the right time. So I probably have to say the Pioneers, and the Skank Wolverines right now have dropped 4 of their last 5. So that'll be the team that's probably headed in the wrong direction. But the Panthers at the 1 spot. Shout out to Coach Tompkins in his first year back at the Panther Palace. Bangor Christian with Coach Reed. The Patriots. Ashland girls, 6th. Didn't have a team last year. And they're 11-6.
11-6 on the year.
So shout out to the Hornets again. And Southern Rustic at 7. Right now, they would play Jonesport Beals in a prelim. Dyer Brook, that'd be one that could be a potential 10-7 upset.
Only 5-12 on the year, and sitting in the 7th slot is Southern Rustic. So might be the changing of the guard. We might have a new state champ coming out of D North here, as maybe the Southern Rustic dynasty is coming to an end here.
Just they had a couple of tough games, and they only lost by 6 to Central Rustic, lost by 9 to Wisdom, and they'll end their season hosting Katahdin. I don't think Wisdom and Mars Hill play on the season. No, they don't.
No,
that's a shame.
Just thinking
that would be kind of the match. I would like to go back and see the scores there, but for some reason, 2 Class D and Aroostook County programs don't play each other, which
it's odd.
It is odd.
Yeah. So there we go. We ran through it all. We have 1 more week to go in the regular season. Then we got prelims, and then we got tournament time. So, Steve, as we close out the episode, is there anything you on your mind, anything bothering you this week that you want to get off your chest before we get up out of here?
Well, the only thing that really bothered me this week was just obviously the fan behavior. And we talked about that a little bit earlier is, listen, you got to relax. Like, just, I know everybody wants their kid to be the star and to be top of the line and not be, as they say, picked on. But I know a lot of the officials personally. And that's not just from Aroostook County. Like, I know Nick Raymond in the Bangor area pretty well. And of course, Pedro Rodriguez and Joe Porter and Joe Kluge. And, they're good people. They're not really out to get your kid or to get your team. Yeah. Is there bad calls?
Oh, yeah, it happens.
It's part of it. I mean, everybody doesn't have their best performance all the time at work, at your 8 to 5. It's just part of it. And, I don't think athletics is there to be a bridge between where they're going to end up. They're probably not going to play college basketball, and they're definitely not going to end up playing in the NBA. Like, not every kid is Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
And as a dad, I just want to sit there and watch my kid and his teammates and get good job, cheer him on. And hey, if you get called for a block when it should have been a charge, suck it up.
Yep.
Move on. And I'm not a coach. Don't pretend to be. So people just need to relax.
Yeah.
Not in the grand scheme of the world. It's not that big of a deal.
Not that big of a deal, everyone. Just relax.
It's fun. It's just entertainment.
Yep.
Don't get yourself thrown out of a game.
Yep. Don't be that person.
Just starting to lose patience. Really.
Well, hopefully we make it to the rest of the season with no more incidents, especially come tournament time. Hopefully,
You're not.
Great tournament.
This is the thing. At tournament time, I sit courtside. I hear everything that fans yell. And sometimes I want to turn around and look at him and say, are you an idiot?
Yeah.
Are you that stupid?
Yeah.
Like, you're wrong. So if you're going to yell, at least be right.
Yeah.
And that's the problem that some people have to deal with. This isn't just for officials. This is like coaches too. I mean, it's the bullshit that people have to deal with in athletics now I hate it.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh.
Hopefully no bullshit this week. Hopefully no bullshit this week. Hopefully we get some great rivalry games to round out the regular season. And then we'll be back next week to start making picks as we get ready for tournament time. So shout out to our sponsors real quick before we get up out of here. Katahdin Trust, community banking at its best. They're also going to be on board for Big Time Hoops All-Star Weekend again this year. Confirm that this week. They're going to be giving us some money to go towards the kids to put on another great event. So happy to have them on board once again.
Absolutely.
And thank you for all they do. But for this week's episode, for Steve and myself, thank you for listening. And we'll see you next week with another episode of Northbound here on the Big Time Hoops Podcast Network. We'll see you then.